there's still, just candidly, too much jargon that goes on in the environment, right? Whereas I think if you anchor it back to the tills have got to work, the bags have got to come out, and you can start to really bring to life the consequences of tech debt, as opposed to just a philosophical discussion about, I must have less tech debt. Then I think you can start to build an environment in which you can be successful. So I think.
Right. How do you balance building new innovative tech features, that everything product heads in that direction, versus, get ready for the moment from the techies, versus managing tech debt? Come on, straight
Yeah,
in.
so have a go. So, if the check-in's down at Terminal 5, or if the tills are down at Oxford Street, or the Shanghai production line's down, or the supply chain is screwed up for building new homes, no one is going to listen to you about moving to product or innovation or AI or anything like that. Getting the tech debt sorted and providing the core service is table stakes, I think.
I think I agree that it's table stakes, but don't we want a Terminal 6 and a Terminal 7 or something else happen at Shanghai?
Yeah, you've got to make Terminal 5 work first.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. What about you, John? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is like one of those, it's like the apocryphal question. Right? I think if you're in any other domain than technology, and you were building up so much crap you couldn't get things you wanted done, it would be pretty obvious what you need to do, right? So I think part of the issue is, product managers actually being able to visibly see what's going on, the right balance of features and tech debt, so they can really get a sense of where things are building up. So I think you do need to sort of set yourself up to be very transparent around your technical debt and start to get visibility into it, right? Because then I think it just gives you one of the levers to be able to start to make the right decision. Right? I think one of the things for product managers is, the art of product management, I think in many ways is deciding what not to do as well as what to do. So I think the art of, making a decision to delay something, you need some information to sort of power that. Right? So I think part of our issue in answering this question is often we're not setting ourselves up to sort of have the right visibility. Right? I think the other part of the other part of the puzzle, which I agree with Paul on, is you've got to really educate the execs in the environment about what you're talking about. Right? That there's still, just candidly, too much jargon that goes on in the environment. Right? Whereas I think if you anchor it back to the tills have got to work, the bags have got to come out, and you can start to really bring to life the consequences of tech debt, as opposed to just a philosophical discussion about, I must have less tech debt. Then I think you can start to build an environment in which you can be successful. So I think I don't have the right answer to what's the balance, but I think you can, if you're thoughtful about it, you can create an environment in which you can have the right type of conversation about whether you're getting that balance or not.
Okay, so I think everybody's going to agree with you and Paul that if stuff's not working, you've got to fix it, right? It's got to work, and that builds some trust to make sure you've got all that. So that's great, we got that in the bag, right? But you touched on a point there, which is like transparency and making, and you said that the product managers understand the transparency. This gets to the nub of it for me, right? Who should own the tech debt roadmap? Is it the product manager, or is it like they don't really understand what's going on, so we just get the techies to own it and we hide it in the spring? Martyna, come on. Try that one for us, Martyna.
I think it's a split responsibility, but ultimately I think it's going to be advice, or the people from tech need to advise people in product that, hey, if we actually don't solve the technical debt issues, we're going to see that, have you seen this feature that we've built? We've spent 3 months building it. If we solved our technical debt, we could have built it in 3 weeks or like two months. So that's the difference when you start seeing that technical debt is slowing you down. So I think it's up to the technical people to explain in a proper way to the product people why this is important. So I think it taps into what you both said. That one thing is you need to make sure that your core value product is working. So it needs to keep working to make money. You cannot make any losses there. But technical debt at some point is going to mean that it's going to slow you down. But you need to put it into numbers. It cannot be like just imaginary number that you say, oh, maybe it would have been faster. It has to be very specific with proof. This is what would happen if you actually allowed us to fix it, and you need to do it continuously. So it's not something that you do, once a year, just clean up. It's something that needs to be kind of like built or put into the ways of working. So it has to be a constant conversation from my point of view.
Got it. So Chris, you got the job of cleaning up here, right? So we know it's important to get core functionality working, otherwise the game's over. We've got to be transparent about it, and then we've got I don't know, like bribe the product managers to do it for speed or something. There was a little bit of like, you know, play in there. How do we do all this, and how do we have that conversation, not just with the product managers, let's say they're probably more educated than that, but with the execs, right? How do we have that conversation of that trade-off? And it's like, yeah, but we'll fix it next month, right? We'll deal with that. We just need to get this product feature out the door. How that's the core of this. How do you get that balance?
I think there's two parts to it. I think the first piece is, the key word here is debt. Right? Everybody in an organisation understands the word debt. If you want your next £1 million business idea, do Experian credit checker for products. I think ultimately, if you can quantify the level, how leveraged you are in terms of debt, people start to understand the risk that goes with that in a much more comprehensive way. And you will vary your attitude to risk at different stages in the product life cycle. So we talk about early stage exploration ideas, our tolerance of risk is quite high. We're prepared to be quite highly leveraged in terms of technical debt to make those pieces work. But as we start to depend on a feature and it becomes a bag check-in type available service, you want to then focus down on making sure you can expand that, and you do have to then pay down some of the leverage you've created. So it requires you to articulate where initiatives are within your product management lifecycle and put it into the context of risk and debt, because your CFO will understand that you can't just keep spending money forever and expect someone eventually to pay the bill. You have to manage that profile at all points in time.